Is this thing working? Are we live? I think we're live. What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. So I've been answering questions on a live show about Mopars for a long time. Questions about camshafts, exhaust, questions about tuning, a lot of questions about tuning. But the thing is, the questions that I've been getting have all been basically kind of walking in lockstep along a certain value, which is how much power can I get out of X combination full stop, which is kind of a funny thing because there's never any understanding of what kind of compromises have to be made within certain parameters like drivability, reliability, just livability. What are the things that are the most common roadblocks, if you will, to guys as they're modifying their car? So that's kind of what I want to talk a little bit about. And then talk about, is it really worth it? Especially when we're talking about Mopars, because it's such a laddered system with Mopars. At what point do you just really need to stop what you're doing, or at least hopefully stop the thought process and move away from the package or the product that you've bought, whether it's an RT Scat, Hellcat, Red Eye, what have you. So I'm going to walk y'all through that a little bit, give y'all my impressions of that. First, let me check in with you guys that are early birds. Skids is in. Oh, he's got the cadence with the flex and the ball guy with the shades. DM is in. Shane is in. Skids too. The Daytona 660. Damn. Yes. Daytona 660. I actually have a follow-up video to the announcement video that I posted earlier today. It's going to get a little bit more detailed as far as what my thoughts are initially, but I wanted to get that initial spec sheet out so that you guys would have that. That is going to be a fun ass bike, and I cannot wait to throw a leg over one. It might be the other bike that I end up buying. I will say this, though. I do have now a soft spot for Thunderbirds, Triumph Thunderbirds, and I'm thinking about doing a build on a Triumph Thunderbird Storm. But yes, that's a story for another day. The Daytona 660 looks to be a freaking riot. I'm looking forward to it. Eric's saying, good evening, Professor. Good evening, Eric. Ryan Zappalak, happy New Year, brother. Much love, my man. We'll buzz you soon. Need to grab a bite? Yes, sir, we do. Legit Professor in the chat. My brother. Hit me up soon. Hope things are going well. Many thoughts and happy vibes heading your way, my friend. Rome with the Hemi saying, hey, folks. Ryan McKenzie. Hey, Professor. Hello, Ryan. Skids, the biggest roadblocks are probably money, then wrong mods. Yeah, they are. Itch is in. Ryan, I like it. What is that? That is cool looking. I like that. I'll give you a flex for that. Ken is in. Stuart saying, I have the Hellcat and enjoy it. Was considering picking up a 1320. Do you think they're worth getting into? Stuart, my man, I'll tell you what. I had a Hellcat. Some of my most fond memories in a Dodge are with my late buddy Ray and his 1320. He and I went head to head for over 2 hours in that car trying to beat each other. My boy beat me by 1/10 of a second indicated on the time slip in the car. It took us both forever, though, to beat that number. It got me on a 12-1 on the street. We were running consistent 12-2s with both of us in the car as delivered, 32 PSI on the Nexans. If that tells you anything about where I'm at with the 1320, I'm a little bit biased when it comes to that car. And if I were to get another Challenger, it would be a 1320. Probably would not be a Hellcat. I just had way too much fun in that car. I enjoyed it way too much. And I have so many fun and fond memories of a car that is such a fun and neat street car that you could use all the power with, and you never really have to worry about hurting the car, right? It was just so much fun. So I'm biased. I would say, yeah, get one if you can afford it, get two. So you can have a buddy of yours You can either trade seats or trade. You got to have something to trade stories with. I love that car. Let's see. Ken saying, good evening. TM saying, B, I noticed you took down the SRT banner and Revlon pics. Yeah, so I did. There's going to be a little bit different library behind me. But yeah, the SRT banner, it was locking me in as far as branding goes, and love Revlon and all that, but the pictures just look funny being lined up there. So I'm going to be putting some other stuff back there soon. Good eye, my friend. Arthur Wall saying salute. Got the Kates with the flex and the ball guy with the shades. Shane saying roadblocks to me would be finding the budget. That's right. You always got to pay that Mopar tax, brother. And maintain drivability, which is where a lot of guys really get it wrong. Skid saying 1320 or the Super B. Yep, that's another really good one. Eric saying, I bought a 1320 in November and love it. I'm interested in any mods you'd recommend. If you don't have a rear seat delete, put a rear seat delete in it, or have a friend that's small and can get back there. Drag, wheel, and tire setup if you're going to take it to the track, or if you're going to do some draggy hits and just want something fun and a way to be consistent, do that. A tune, maybe not. I'm not married to a tune on the 2019 and up cars. The 2019 and up cars are damn good from the factory. So anything 2019 and up that's naturally aspirated with a 392, just let it ride. Don't worry about a tune on that. And that's rich coming from me, right? Mr. Data Log. I mean, I've got so many. Anyway, they're really good coming from the factory. To give you an idea, I mean, I've seen these cars knock off 11.4 core, and one car knocked off an 11.3 stock tune just on a wheel and tire setup with a rear seat delete. That's it. So I'm not saying every one of them is going to do it, and it takes really good air to do it. But I mean, 1320 is a hell of a car, and I love it. And that's again the only, looking back at my entire career with Mopar vehicles and talking about Mopars and doing Mopar specific stuff, I would be lying if I said that I don't regret getting a 1320 at some point. I should have gotten a 1320 instead of my Hellcat. There, I said it, and I mean it too. Now, granted, if I would have gotten a 1320, I probably would have put one of my cams and an exhaust system on it, full headers, and the like, right? But I really would have probably gone that route. If I still had a drag strip available to me, to be fair, guys, I probably would have gotten rid of the Hellcat anyway and got a 1320 if I just had somewhere to take it. I realistically don't anymore. Not for what I would be doing with the car. So no sense in having it. Plus, I'm pretty hip deep into the motorcycle thing right now. DM saying Triumph should give you a banner for all the bikes you've bought and tested. There it is right there. But yeah, I'll be bringing you guys more. I mean, if you're into the motorcycle thing, I'll be bringing you guys more content. I've got Tiger 1200 that I still need to ride. They sold the Tiger 1200 GT that I was going to ride. So awesome. That's it's a good bike too. But the 1200 GT sold. So I'm going to be taking one of the Explorers out. I've got the Scrambler 900, the Scrambler 1200 to ride, the Speed Triple RS and the Speed Triple RR still to ride, the Bobber still to ride, the Speedmaster still to ride. And I'm going to bring you guys content on the Trident. I'm going to bring you guys some content on, that's that 660 that the Daytona is based off of. I've already ridden the 660 Tiger, which I freaking fell in love with. God dang it, I need to quit doing that. I'm really getting kind of geeked out over the Tigers, by the way. And then, of course, the Daytona 660 once it lands. So I've got a lot of work still to do. I also want to redo my Speed Twin video, but fortunately, that motorcycle sold also. So just waiting for inventory to hit the showroom, and I'll be able to bring you guys some more data and post-ride videos on that. Now, I will say this. I know that a lot of guys are asking for ride videos. Here's the problem with doing a ride video. These are not my motorcycles. And as such, I don't need to have on video me noonering somebody's motorcycle that they're going to be selling to the general public. I can tell you how the motorcycle rode and I can give you a general impression of it. But for me to just be puttering along and talking into a microphone inside of a helmet, I know some people like that. To me, I'm not a huge fan of it. I would rather talk to somebody and see how they express their feelings about the bike after they ride it. I get that some folks want to see what's going on, but the problem is that some guys get tempted to do stupid things, or they get disappointed because you don't do stupid things. You know, see what I'm saying? So anyway, it's all going to be post-ride videos. Again, I thought about getting the 360 and I thought about doing a helmet cam type thing, but to be fair, a lot of folks really aren't. I think you'd rather hear what I have to say when I've ridden the bike as opposed to after I've ridden it, because I'm going to be really animated. And a lot of times anyway, but again, I'm riding dealership demo motorcycles. I'm not riding my own bike. If I'm riding my own bike, that's a different story. But if I'm on a demo bike, I got to be respectful for the property of others and the soon to be property of a future customer. So there's that. Stuart saying, you can still get a 1320. Yeah. And Ryan saying, just shooting for about 480 wheel horsepower, then a buckshot. So here's the thing. Ryan, 68 AMC Ambassador SST Coupe manual abandoned poly build as I found indie heads make a manifold and good heads for the AMC. Very nice. Got a 442 inch stroker kit, ordered the trim. You know what's funny? The AMC builds are badass, man. There was a guy down here that when I was a kid was running a Javelin with some stroker AMC. I mean, the thing hauled ass. So, I mean, good stuff. People just always dismissed them, but you can actually build some decent power with them. So let's see. Let me make sure I'm not skipping out on anybody. So for a 1320 or for any of the, let me put it to you like this. So let's start out with modifications. I don't want there to be any confusion. Yes, is it worth it? Well, let's walk through the steps. I mean, first of all, modifications are typically a way for guys to make their car their own. They want things to be a little bit different. They want it to step out from the crowd, etc. If we're talking about aesthetic modifications, I won't get into that because, listen, there's an ass for every seat and a seat for every ass. So I don't ever get into that, like wheels, tires, paint jobs, stuff like that. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder or beer holder. So what about engine modifications? Cold air intakes, headers, things like that. Here's the problem when you're talking about Mopars. If you've got an RT, moving to a Hellcat airbox with a Hellcat filter and putting a set of long tube headers on the car will get you some gains. And it will show in a tune also to go along with it. But the thing is that is right there. That's where you need to stop what you're doing. Keep that car right where it's at, a fun, conservative. And what I mean by conservative is fuel quality friendly tune, long tube headers, and an air box. And if you want to do that, you don't even have to, because it's not like it's a big deal. Throw a Hellcat air filter in the thing. Don't worry about porting the intake manifold, throttle bodies, or anything like that. Just trust me on this. If you want to go with the Scat Pack catback, if you will, with those long tube headers and metal substrate catalytic converters, and you'll be in fantastic shape. Although I will say this, you are encroaching on a very dangerous place when it comes to modifying an RT, and that is there's also the 392 that's out there. And the 392 is for sale for an amount of money that is just more than the typical full bolt-on 5.7. So don't go competing against 392s with your 5.7, not in that respect. But I will say this, a 5.7, long tubes, a tune, it's a lot of fun to drive. They're fast enough for the street, and with a set of drag radials, they will dead hook in a way that the 392 won't. One of my favorite builds is just what I got through showing you. And you can put a different gear in it if you want. 309, though, with a limited slip is the perfect place to be. So in knowing that, I mean, look at Noav RT's car. That thing screams. It's basically an 11-second RT with just some bolt-ons done to it. That's all you really need. There is some transmission tuning that you can put together if you need to, and it's a bit of a trial and error because you got to adjust shift points and things like that. But you don't even have to go that far. Just a little bit of a tune to make the engine work fine with the long tubes. Certain things you have to do to make it all work together. Don't put long tubes on a car, though, without a tune. You'll piss off your knock sensors and you'll make less power. But you'll see what I'm talking about once you start thinking it through. The RT doesn't make as much power, but it makes plenty of power. And taking that 370, which I still think the RT 5.7, the 5.7 in the RTs is underrated, in my opinion. But you'll go from that 370 horsepower, you'll pick up maybe 25 to 30, and now you're looking at a legit 400, which is really, in my opinion, more like 4.25 horse out of that 5.7. What's not to love about that? It hooks up perfectly on the street, and it runs great getting down the road. But that would stop with the 5.7 because to go any further encroaches on the 392. And let me, hold on, full stop right there too. That's only, I would stop there only because camshaft, porting the intake, bigger throttle body. The more you keep going into that car, oh, I beat a 392 with it. You can never get that money back. And nobody's going to pay you top dollar for your cammed out 5.7. That's not how it works. Maybe there's a sucker born every minute, but man, don't count on it. It's going to be tough for you to offload that ratchety 5.7 that in some scenario beat a 392. Man, probably didn't know he was racing, but you get the idea, right? So just know that's why I'm hollering full stop there. You're going to take this car from being a very fun street car that sounds good, which, by the way, guys, don't straight pipe a Hemi, especially not with an X pipe. If you're going to straight pipe a Hemi, for freaking crying out loud, put an H pipe in it so that it sounds good. X pipes and straight pipes sound like ass. Like nothing sounds worse than an X pipe that's straight piped. I can get into the reasons why, the physics and compression waves and things. I'm not going to do that. Just know that the end result is a shit sounding car. Put an H pipe on it if you're going to make it that loud. But anyway, getting into the 392s. Okay, here's the thing. The 392 is when things get really spicy. But you're limited as far as what kind of result you're going to get out of 392. Long tube headers and high flow cats will get you low in torque and drive a 92. But it's the tune that will get you more horsepower, not the headers. You got to remember that the 392 comes with a very good exhaust system from the factory. The shorty headers are incredibly good at making power on the top end. Long tube headers, they don't make power on the top end. They make power down low. And because of the very wide load separation on the 392, it's just not going to have enough tick-tock like real time to scavenge combustion chamber. The long tubes is what I'm getting at. It works great again for down low, but it sucks up top. If you've got a cam that you want to put into your 392, make it a mild one. 220 to 226 duration on the intake side. There's a big difference between those two cams. Stick with something around 220 to 224 on the intake side, a lobe separation angle of around 113. 114 will get you there too, and a duration somewhere around 230. That's what you want for your 392. It'll make it make more power everywhere, even under partial throttle, and it won't be overtaxing on you, basically because it's chopping and being just too raspy and crappy to be around. You don't want it to fail that test. The long-term ownability has got to be there for the modification to be worth realistically. By the way, conspicuously absent is forced induction for the two cars. And the reason why is because it is a five-figure, like a solid five-figure modification. That money needs to be going into getting the next car. Although, yes, you have heard me say it time and time again that one of my favorite combinations is an E-Force supercharged 5.7. You're going to pay about $3,000 more than going full bolt on with, but dang it if it doesn't seem to work really well. It's just, although it's fun to enjoy if it's somebody else's money, I just wouldn't suggest it if it were mine, or I wouldn't spend it rather if it were mine. Now then, what about other mods to that 392? Porting the intake, larger throttle bodies. And yeah, maybe. This is where it might help you out. Fastman ported stock throttle body, yes. A Hellcat throttle body, maybe not. It's just really not going to get you the gains that you're probably looking for. Although it'll get you throttle response, it's not going to get you big horsepower gains. Porting the manifold depends on what kind of shape your stock manifold is in. But the reality here is that, again, we're stacking racks now at this point. You're going to have downtime with the car. You're going to have to spend the money to get the thing ported. Now you got this throttle, but the more you start to dive into it, you're running into a diminishing return when it comes to return of horsepower per dollar. So where would I stop it? Well, here's the thing. As a guy that's ported a whole lot of Mopar intake manifolds, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even, I'd go with a Fastman throttle body because it makes the car a little bit snappier. But if I've got a 1320, for example, Fastman throttle body, don't touch the intake manifold, maybe a tune, and probably not a tune. I'd just go Fastman throttle body and enjoy the ride and leave it at that. Let me check in with you guys real quickly. The truck stuff, it kind of goes in lockstep, although I think long tubes help trucks a lot more than, in fact, I think the trucks of all of them need to have better exhaust. They have a variable intake runner, but they got a horrible exhaust manifold. So I just picked up a 2014 Challenger RT 100th anniversary 6-speed car a couple of months ago, and I'm going to be ready to modder after I'm done with my 5th-gen Camaro project. I think I want to do a boosted or NA 6.4. So you can do that. You can always build it up and build it as a boosted combination. That's a lot of money, but if you've got a used car that you picked up, especially if you picked it up on the cheap, that may change your own outlook as far as drivability, surgingness with the cam being a little bit too rowdy, and the like. But just remember this: build a car from the back to the front. Make sure that you've got quality axles, a good drive shaft. Make sure that you're not messing about with any parts that are going to be a potential weak link once you start throwing boost on these things, or any car for that matter. Let's see. Oh, Ryan saying, hey, Skids, trading the CF Moto for a 2023 Indian Scout Bobber. Sagebrush color. Very pretty bike. Very cool bike, too. I like the Scout Bobbers. Those are nice. Dan said, I just popped in, so I missed a lot, but will say modding my Mopar was the best thing I've ever done. At least my 5.7 with the mods I have given it, have responded heavily. So Dan brings up a good point that the 5.7 is going to be the one that responds to mods the most, because it is the corporate V8. It is the one that is the most shackled. It's got the worst exhaust system, some of the softest, well, the older cars anyway, some of the softest timing. There's a lot that can be gained with that car because it's coming from a place of being somewhat neutered, but it does have some things going in its favor, namely the camshaft. It doesn't have a whole lot of duration, but it does have a tighter lobe separation angle at 115 versus 121 for the 392. Not a good thing. And so there's some room in there where you can actually have some fun with the 5.7 picking up power. But just remember that at some point, no replacement for displacement, whether that displacement comes in the form of forced induction, cramming more air into the cylinder, or just with a bigger engine in general. Although if given my option, I would take only supercharger and leave it alone versus full bolt-on if the budget allows for it. But that's going to be a heavy budget. Let's see. Oh, Ryan saying, I have the Moto, the CF Moto, and waiting for the snow to stop to go trailer the Scout home. Very cool. Oh, they're saying 3-cylinder. Yes, Triumph. A lot of manufacturers are looking at that 3-cylinder, seems like these days. 3-cylinder, I love triples. Triples are fun because they are the ultimate compromise. You get most of the torque down low of a twin and most of the horsepower up top of a 4-cylinder. And this is the only thing, speaking of 4-cylinders, the only bitch that I have about the Z1 is that it is a 4-cylinder that's acting like a triple. And I'm starting to wonder if I should have gone with the shorter velocity stacks with that build. But I'm really happy with it. And I'm probably going to re-gear that bike. I'm going to take some gearing out of it. I'm going to go from a 15 primary to a 16 primary sprocket. Rift is in, saying my red eye has a quarter mile at a time. Yeah. When should I consider changing the spark plugs? My man, I'll put it to you like this. I would probably take a look at it here around 30,000 miles, but I will tell you this. I know of guys that have got double that mileage, haven't touched their plugs, and beat their car like it owes them money. So just saying. See, Mama says, does the Demon 170 make the 2018 Demon look like a wimp? You know, I don't really like the choice of words on that, because that's like, oh, I kicked your ass with my car. Well, no, you didn't. And does it make it look like a wimp? No. The performance envelope of the Demon, the OG Demon, only goes to show how special and how high of a performer the 170 is. I will say this, though. The Demon 170, for me, it doesn't make the OG Demon look like a wimp. It makes the OG, and I've been saying this for a long time, it makes the OG Demon to me look unfinished. It makes the OG Demon to me seem like they could have done better going all the way back to 2015, because flex fuel technology, long time. And I feel like the Hellcat should never have been released without having flex fuel compatibility on some level. That engine is trying to do a whole lot with not a whole lot of displacement. And it does so extremely well on 93 octane, but it should always have had a sensed E85 system in it from jump. And that's one of the things that bothers me about the Hellcat platform in general. It's one of the things that annoyed me. I shouldn't say bother. That's a bad choice of words, but I think you get the idea. Ryan saying, I'm looking for cam grinds for an AMC 442 stroker with a 4150 stroke. Playing on solid rollers, just not versed in AMC small blocks. It's really not a whole lot. It depends on what your goal is. I mean, typically for a 442, you're probably going to be looking at at 50, you're probably looking at like a 246, 254 cam. Intake center lines are always going to be about the same. Probably rock that one back to 111 with a 111 lobe separation angle for the street. So you'd install it straight up. That would be a good place to start for me. And then it would depend on where you would have, it really would depend on where you would want power to show up in terms of total lift and what you want to go with as far as how rowdy you want it to be. But 570 lift, somewhere in that range, would probably be a lot of fun. It depends on your head flow. There's a lot that would come into play with that. Funny. So Mama Says is asking or saying the super stock was forgotten. It's funny you say that. I was having a conversation with somebody about Mopars in general, and I forgot to mention the super stock. So you're right on that. Did I ever consider buying a TRX? I did. Matter of fact, I came close to getting one, a white one. But we were too far away as far as money goes. And I am not going to pay $100,000 for a pickup truck. It's just not happening. So that deal fell through. Oh, Dan. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff done to his. Well, the thing is that there's a lot. Dan say I'm keeping her forever. And that's the big difference. Okay. Yeah. If you're going to go crazy and keep something for long term and you're planning on this being a car you're never going to get rid of, kind of like Foxy won't ever anyway, then I would say go for it. I mean, just get out there and have fun with it. But for those that are out there that are trying to be more prudent, some sage advice, if nothing else. It's kind of a do as I say, not as I do thing. Let's see. Ryan saying Flowmaster Super 44s. Well, Super 44 it's still a muffler. It's not running with no muffler. Yeah, they sound great. I had Super 44s on Sierra. Loved them with an H pipe. Nothing said. That truck would snap a neck when you fired it up. That was a good sounding truck. Let's see. Mama Says asking, what's more better, a drag pack or Demon 170, or what's more special? That's a good question. I don't know that either one of them trump the other. Drag pack is drag strip only. Demon 170 is, well, it's a street car. It's a track car that's street legal. The problem with the Demon ones, let me tell you guys my problem with the Demon ones. Well, let me start out with a drag pack. It's a drag car. So if you're into drag racing, it's a neat car. It's a special car. If you're not into drag racing, the drag pack looks like, it won't make any sense to you. So there's that. You can't really relate to it. The Demon 170 is a street car, and it's a street car the same way that a Toyota Camry is a street car. But the ideal here is that it's got a lot of things on it that will make it do some amazing things on a prepared surface drag strip. So between the two, I'd say the Demon 170 is more special because it's more relatable, but it's in all of the everything that you've got to do to just hope the thing will hook on the track and perform the way that it's promised to perform. There's a lot that goes into that. Whereas, because it is a street car that is got, the power of a race car. It's just asking, what's an E-Force like on a 392? The E-Force on a 392 or any positive displacement on a 392 is it can be the recipe for disaster for the transmission if you run it on a sticky tire, or at least at the drag strip, because it is immediately going to be overshooting the torque rating for an HP 70. So, but what's it like? I mean, you're limited to about 5 pounds or 6 pounds of boost because of a compression ratio, but it basically it bumps it to like it's like a 550 horse combination. Really, it's more than that, 575 ish, depending on like on a Mustang dyno. So it'll go from 430 to 550, 430 to 575. And they're fun. They're not bad to drive. It's just that you've now spent $10,000 on a scat pack, where that $10,000 plus your scat pack would get you at least well deep into a Hellcat, which is going to have significantly more power all the way around. But they're fun cars. I don't want to discount it. And realistically, that was almost your first Hellcat. Was a the mule engine for the Hellcat was a 392, and had they had their way, it would have been a 9-to-1 392, making about 8 to 10 pounds of boost. Would have been in that 650 horsepower at the flywheel range. Stuart's saying, what is a good aftermarket camshaft for the 1320? Should I choose to get one? Just go custom grind, man. Go custom grind. I would not get something right off the shelf. There's just nothing that comes to mind that I would prefer over that grind that I was talking about earlier. I said I got my hands on a Hellcat blower with everything I needed for it for $3,000 and the bracket for $2,500, but I'm definitely far away from the install, let alone a tune for that. I was like, got a good deal. Skids, when modifying a 6.4, you have to ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Complex is in. Good evening, B. Got the cadence down. The flex and the ball guy with shades. Brent is in. What's up, Brent? Dan saying, yet to my car, though, as the gasket of the driver's side Dookie on me, waiting to get her back Saturday. Gotcha. Oh, Skid saying the Scouts are fast cruisers. Yeah, they're a quick cruiser. Some of the cruisers now are a lot faster than you might give them credit for. In fact, pretty much every motorcycle is a lot faster now than you can give them credit for. Ryan saying, thank you, Skids. The old lady said she'll ride it, so it was out with the moto, in with the Scout. Very cool. Brent's asking, what about the 6.1? So the 6.1 is an interesting cat for me, and I'm on record as saying that the 6.1 for me I've got a major soft spot for that engine, because it's like the Mopar LS. It really is. No real downside to it. It's got great flowing cylinder heads. The intake manifold is good enough. It's not bad. A lot of people, I think, try to give that intake a lot more credit. It's really good. In fact, the later 5.7 polymer manifolds flow about like that 6.1. I mean, it's a really good place to start. Same applies, but from the factory, the 6.1's got a little bit tighter lobe separation angle, so it responds better to long tubes. It's got the heads don't flow as well, and that's not a bad thing. It means you have port velocity with a 6.1, whereas with a 5.7 and a 6.4, you kind of don't, in a way. So for me, I like more traditional looking camshafts. You know, a 226, 232 with a 108. 110 intake center line, and LSA of about 112, maybe 113, in that range. 114 on a wide set, that would be a good place to start for that car. But there's nothing to worry about with the 6.1. You don't have to mess with cam phaser nonsense and all the rest of that crap. It's just V8. It's the prettiest of the bunch. And of the cars that are out there, again, if it wasn't a 1320, an SRT8 with a NAG 1 would be a fun ass car. And again, I'm not looking for the fastest thing on the street, especially not anymore. I've been blessed to be able to take cars down the track with 4-figure horsepower figures. And okay, fantastic. Guys, I'm not a size queen when it comes to power on anything that I'm driving or piloting, if you will. I'm not a big power queen when it comes to bikes or cars because they're all fun to me. I enjoy all of them, and they all have their pros and cons. You get too much power with anything, motorcycle, car, whatever, you simply can't use it. There's not an opportunity for me to uncork 1,400 horsepower or 200 horsepower on a motorcycle. It doesn't work like that. There's just X amount of risk that you should be willing to take with so many unknown factors that each one of them can conspire to kill you, much less a combination of any two or more. You got to take that into consideration, and or at least at this stage of my life, I do. And again, that's rich coming from a guy that was either running point for roll racing with an RC51 or CBR 1000 or roll racing, the Viper stuff. So yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, reasons and seasons, right, guys? But the fact of the matter is that I've learned a lot along the way. And, you know, having big power is just not any fun. And again, you'll hear me say things like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's a shit sandwich, really. Like, is more shit making it a better fucking sandwich? You know, that's kind of where I'm at. That's my Gen 2 Hemi argument also, but that's a thing for another day. I think you get my point though. But I love me some 6.1 stuff. Dan saying, oh man, I'm 23 with no kids with a full-time job, so my build gets all of my budget. Bro, listen, back in the day, I was just talking about some of the cars and stuff I used to race and was a part of. Man, I can't tell you how many freaking cans of tuna fish, ramen noodles, freaking how many stuffed bell peppers I was eating. Man, I was getting, dude, I used to eat only at home. I mean, it was, my food budget and my caloric intake was dictated by how much $40 would get me throughout the course of a week for groceries. So I get that. I had some fast shit though. That's for damn sure, baby. Oh man. But yeah, I definitely had to, and that's the other thing. If I wasn't in the gym, I was working on a car. That's for sure. Oh, what happened? Oh, Skid saying, yeah, much better for 2-up than the sport bike for sure. And Ryan saying 6.1's an awesome engine from the factory. Yeah, it's just such a pretty thing. This is the other thing, man. God bless, man. I don't like the comparison. I don't know what it is about me, man. I don't like, the 6.1 is so freaking good looking. It's such a good performing car, but you don't like it in a vacuum, right? But it just don't compare it to a 392. It's not there in terms of performance. It doesn't have the transmission. It doesn't have the power production, all of that. But I'm not a guy that's going to compare the two. Some of the cars that have been the most fun for me to drive have been more of the lower powered cars. Okay, the D100 Dodge with the Nag 1 and the 6.1 swap that I helped with tuning on that car. Primarily transmission tuning. Alex Pikes did the engine side, not tinkered with the trans tune. Anyway, that thing was more fun than any. That is the one vehicle that I actually offered to buy. I said, like, if this truck ever comes up for sale, I at least want a shot at it. I think the truck ended up, the guy did whatever and sold it. I didn't even know the truck was selling. But that's the only vehicle that's ever run through that shop. And by the way, it's the only car that I can think of to this day that I would actually be a player on to buy, which is saying a lot. But that was the most fun vehicle that I can remember driving. And that, 373 gear in that truck with a nag one, long tube headers, stock 6.1 was a lot of fun. That truck maybe weighed 3,200 pounds. Insane. Got her. Seriously, I like the badging from the 72 Demon. It's good looking badging. You just had to skip an ad. Oh, so get a load of this. So yeah, and I've got to manually, I think, turn that off for live shows. But yeah, YouTube will throw in ads on live shows now. Welcome to 2024. But hey, I think that it won't throw in ads when the show gets off of live. And then, well, maybe it does still. I don't know. I always ask guys, listen, if you're getting bombarded with ads, let me know so I can get that out of there for you. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, it's YouTube for you. Right. Ryan saying me too, and thanks for the heads up. Yes, sir. Dan saying, yeah, my 5.7 is going to be my future children's inheritance. Man, I can't leave them much with the money the money it's taken from me. I get it. Oh, off topic. Anybody check out Dodge's website lately? Only 4 cars, 2 of which have ended production. Yeah, I get it. I know. And that's the thing that makes it tough. I mean, that's why we're talking about modding your Mopar, because we ain't talking about buying anything new. That's for darn sure. Oh, Ken saying, for mods, I just found out the 1320 front sway bar is hollow, so I ordered it for my red eye. So yeah, what I had done with Revlon is it was rocking a Scat Pack sway bar, which is about 25 pounds lighter and 100% worth it. And it made the car ride better too. That car should have come from the factory with the hollow sway bar, because the solid sway bar makes it was just way too stiff. I hated it with that thing. And it made my drive modes actually work like drive modes. Right, say when I was in the Army stationed in Bamberg, Germany, I had the chance to own an R33 Skyline 4 and a right-hand drive turbo 94 RX-7. And my favorite, the S15 99 Nissan Silvia. It was feisty and slid amazingly. Those were fun cars. But that was 23 years ago, before my kids. I understand that. Brent's asking, do you think the 170 is worth all the money and the hype? It depends. Is it worth the sticker price? 100%. I think that car at sticker is exactly what you need to have a car with the money you would sink into a Hellcat anyway. You could have a 170 and go to the track every weekend and for the rest of your flipping life, probably, and have a car that would run 920, 930 without having to dive into the settings and really get competitive with it. It's a low 9-second car, right? But you could have a low 9-second car in any era that you ran the thing in. If you really got nasty with it, you might get into the 8s, but it's an irrelevant number. Nobody cares. The fact is it worth it at sticker? Yes. Is it worth it at anything over sticker? No, it's not. I would love to be able to get my hands on one, but that's just not how things worked out. Brent saying my Hellcat was just about as fast for way less. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I would need to come up with another at least 200 horsepower for that car to have been anywhere near sniffing distance. But yes, for far, far less money. DM saying the Hornet really isn't a car. It's Liberace's golf cart. That thing is, I don't like it. I'm sorry. And there's a reason why it's one of the slowest selling vehicles that I think is on paper right now. Ryan's asking, where can you find one for sticker? You can't. That's the problem. I mean, I did everything I could to try to get my hands on one for sticker, and it did not. Obviously, it didn't pan out. Ryan saying, oh, where I want the damn Hornet GLH factory option. Is that even available, guys? Listen, I hate to say this, but I haven't been on Dodge's website and I haven't been around Direct Connection either. Is the Hornet option available? Is it even out there? I'm sorry, but the GLH option, I should say, for the Hornet, is that even out there? I don't know. Brotherhood of Soy for the Hornet. You know, I tell you something. They had an opportunity there, guys. I don't want to make this, you know, something that it ain't. I don't want to make of the car something that it's not. But there was an opportunity there. They could have made it not suck. They can still make it not suck. I don't know how to feel the sting. Ah, God dang it. Oh, I hated that. What was it like? Like, get me with your sting or what? Oh, God, that commercial. Oh, shit. It's like throwing cats on a chalkboard. Oh, it's so bad. It's so embarrassing. So cringy. To feel this. Oh, it's so bad. It's like some like crazy guy and he's wearing like a, you know, the end is near or some shit or whatever type of a sign in. And it's like some, like it's the, you know, what's funny though, guys, it's just us hanging out. Right. So if you watch that commercial, it's prophetic, not pathetic, but prophetic. It's like a prophecy, right? Because it's the end of the world. It's like the end of Dodge, right? And this is the last thing that we're going to give you. It's like, it's not something awesome, right? It's not some like badass thing. Like, oh, here's the new Hurricane. It's got a hybrid. It's all-wheel drive. It goes 0 to 60 fast as diarrhea. It does all this other shit, right? No, it's the end is near. Here's this new shit box. And it's like, oh my God, this is so full of suck, man. So, oh my God. And the thing about it is, you know, in hindsight, looking at that, it was so prophetic because they couldn't show it doing anything rock and roll and tire smoke because it can't. And so it's like some bad anime and it's almost, but it's not because it's like live action. So it's like a live action version of a bad anime. In a bad live action version at that, and it just sucks. And so it's so prophetic. And it's so funny how it just makes it seem like they're just checking out, like we're done. This is it. Thanks, Atlantis, for ruining all of our vision and turning all of our hard work into liquid shit. Here's the sting. You feel the sting. It's just so bad. Oh God, it's bad. Anyway, Britt's asking, what do you think of the new engines coming out? I like the Hurricane. If you haven't driven anything with one of the Hurricane engines, get ready because it's impressive. They haul ass properly. The Grand Wagoneer with the HO Hurricane, it completely changed my outlook on that engine. That thing at 6,500 pounds, I'm not going to say it scared me. It surprised me in a way that was, I mean, it scared me away from even worrying about the V8 though. Scott Brent. Yeah, that was a horrible commercial. I said the sting of missing fun cars. Yeah, they could have made it fun and they haven't. Ryan saying game over. I like it. What do you think about Dodge pulling out of all the auto shows? Brent's asking that. Wouldn't you if you're Dodge? I mean, what do you have to show off? A Hornet? Are they going to reenact that horrible commercial? Like do a stage production of that? What are you going to show? There's nothing for Dodge to show up there with. The only thing that Mopar needs to be, is Fiat even still a thing? Maserati and Alfa Romeo, I think, are those still? Anyway, you get the idea. There's no reason to have Dodge at any of these shows because there's nothing to show. You can't show the Banshee again. Besides, that car looks like it hasn't been completed yet. You can't show any of the, is it a new Charger? Is it a new what with the Hurricane engine? That's the thing. That's the piss me off about all this too, guys. I mean, how are you gonna have a car not ready to go when the Hemi is on its way out. And again, this should not be anything new because back in 2018, remember, that was when we were supposed to have the last of the V8s anyway. Or at least the last of this platform. We were supposed to have either a new V8 platform or a new 6 or whatever in a new car in 2019. They were talking about the Hurricane Inline 6 being in production in 2019. The fact that this crap stayed on for as long as it did, 4 or 5 model years, like, man, that's great. Bravo. Good job, Dodge. But we got to have something ready to go when this stuff is checked out. And it would have added value to the V8 cars too. This is the last opportunity because we got the 6-cylinder coming. If you like the soundtrack, now's the time to buy. If not, you want the power of the inline 6 with the 2 turbies? Wait a minute, because it's coming and it's going to be worth the wait. Anybody? Anything? Nothing. So there you have it. Beef saying, can anybody name a brand that's more out of touch with its customer base? No, I don't think so. Ryan saying Uconnect becomes Skynet. Hey, listen, if it's as glitchy as my Uconnects have been, then we got nothing to worry about because it's going to be back. That's what it'll be like instead of I'll be back, right? You know, that's how, trust me, as skittish as that is, if you connect this powering Skynet, we got nothing to fear. Let's see. Dan said, I think Hurricane has potential to be sort of like the EcoBoost of Dodge. I feel like I don't think anything unless another loud and rowdy V8 will surpass the shadow that's been left. There's a lot of folks that feel the same way, man, for sure. Ryan saying, yeah, Fiat is still kicking. I mean, is it? I guess. If it's still around, great. But DM say, what the heck would Dodge show at SEMA? What could they show? Nothing. I mean, say whatever you want about the inline 6, but I have something to talk about. Skid saying Motor Trend reported that the 25 Ram with the HO6 will be $75,000. The lesser H6 lower trends will be 60-ish. And there you go. That it's just ridiculous, the money. Ryan saying if Ram would release a Ram Charger TRX, if they would release a Ram Charger, period, I would be possibly a player at that. I love Ram Charger. Skid saying, okay, to clarify, the Laramie with a Hurricane non-HO will be 62 to 66, which makes sense. Laramies are in that price range right now. I would pick I would like to see what a Lone Star or Bighorn version, same thing, would be with the HO inline 6. Oh, Brent, all that new EV shit. Hey, listen, I'll tell you what, there's a lot. These manufacturers are crawfishing away from EVs right now, guys. You guys haven't noticed it. There's a lot of folks that are kind of checking out with EVs. They're too much hassle, too many headaches. Who cares about, even if you had all the infrastructure in the world, they can't, there's too many problems with that power plant. And I'm not a hater on EVs. In fact, I see the benefit of EVs, but the problem with EVs is that it gets politicized. I just see it as another powertrain that I got to figure out a way to hot rod. And I've got ideas as far as how to make EVs freaking scream. But they have their limitations. There are pros and cons to everything. There's pluses and minuses and all this other stuff. But so I hate that it somehow or another got turned into like a virtue signal. But I will say this, it's not where it needs to be from a reliability standpoint. From a resale point of view, nobody likes buying used electric vehicles. Oh, hang on a second. I'm going to make sure that ad doesn't go out. But anyway, that gives you an idea for what I'm talking about here. Skid saying they are releasing a Ram Charger. Sweet. I need to check it out. H6 plug-in hybrid claiming 600 plus horsepower. That would be sick to death. It's on Motor Trend website. I will have to check that out, man. That's exciting to talk about. I actually like talking about that. Dan said Hellcats were once 50 to 60 grand brand new. Yep, I remember they stickered at 62 to 63. Can you believe that? Dan, that's funny. Brent saying I paid 40 for my new Ram in 2017. Now that same truck is 65. Yeah, I know the feeling. Ryan saying I'm going to go read that after the show. Same here. Lime saying they could have put a 6-foot hood on the Hornet and dropped that twin turbo 6 in that car. They could have done anything with it. Ryan, a lot Lizard EV. Yeah, a golf cart. Oh, car and driver. It's good saying it was on car and driver. Well, guys, with that, listen, we're hitting up on an hour, so I got to check out. We are. So, guys, appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Love each and every one of y'all. Would not do this without you. Get out there and do something cool for somebody, because chances are they need it way more than you know. And with that, guys, that's a wrap. We'll catch you on the next one. Adios.